What? You probably didn't know I could fight. Well, guess what? I can't. But you know what I can do? Is fight on the internet with random strangers. And that's what I'm going to do today on the very first episode of Let's Fight Review Rebuttals. Man, sick moves, right? Okay, so I came up with this idea because I want this channel to be about music discussions. That's what's important, not the reactions. I know what you guys think. The reactions where I go, like, whoa, was that a guitar? Is actually not as important as the reviews and the music discussions that we have in this community, in the comments, on my Patreon, all that. That's what I love seeing. So, I know what you're thinking, but Metalbird, your reviews are already perfect. Like, you don't need to rebuttal your reviews because they're 100% just, there's no need for rebuttals. Well, you're wrong, because I jumble up on my words. Sometimes I recycle the same things. Sometimes I listen to the songs over time and then my opinions change. My reviews are actually not that perfect. They're literally just first impression thoughts when I listen to the songs. So I thought, hey, my patrons, my most valuable birds, send me some reviews that you didn't agree with, and I'm going to rebuttal them. So here's a couple that have sent some messages, and I'm going to rebuttal them and give them my thoughts. Who knows? Maybe I might agree with them, or maybe they're just straight up wrong. But let's get on to it. So let's get on to the first fight. Poor microphone. Okay, the first rebuttal comes from Tundra CH. This is a prog head. He's been on the channel for a long time. He says, Erra are one of the better prog metalcore bands in the scene, and Snowblood and also the band in general makes great strides for the genre. I'm surprised that you preferred Infinite Illusion to it because it felt rather generic to me by comparison. Erra have much more eclectic riffs, and Jesse Cash is probably one of the best guitarists in the scene right now, and that's without even mentioning his lead chops. He's got the whole package. I'd be lying if I said I remember Infinite Illusion after listening to it, because I simply didn't. Just another by-the-numbers prog metalcore track as far as I'm concerned. It's fair enough that you don't enjoy Erra's clean vocals, but you enjoy bands such as Periphery and Veil of Maya who have very similar type of vocals that Erra does, so I don't quite understand it either. Damn, Tundra. Going right underneath the belt, I see, eh? Well, look, man, that is a great first rebuttal because Erra is one of those bands that's very controversial because prog metalcore is one of my favorite genres. It is actually the genre that got me into the scene, surprisingly enough. I know other people got into the scene with, like, I don't know, Metallica, Linkin Park, whatever, like the big bands, Slipknot. I actually never checked out those bands. If you know the channel well enough, I don't listen to those bands. It was actually, I listened to a lot of punks, so my older brothers, you know, grew up in the skate punk era. They listened to bands like NoFX, Lagwagon, No Use for a Name, Pennywise, shit like that. And I started listening to it, but then this local band from my area called Protest the Hero, as you guys know, just came out with their album called Kazaya, and they wrote it when they were 18 years old, and this was my first taste in metal, but not even that, it was my first taste of progressive metalcore. That album is still one of the best prog metalcore albums I've ever heard, and it's unfortunate that a lot of people, kids now, don't know, you know, bands like Protest the Hero, The Human Abstract, Sick, or even Between the Bear and Me, and that's why I hold prog metalcore to such a high standard, because there was a good era where there was masters at the scene, and now a lot of bands sound very similar. Now, Erra, I don't think they sound similar. They definitely have their own unique style. But my problem with Erra was that I felt like they leaned too heavily on the metalcore side of things and not enough on the prog side of things. And it was kind of holding them back because, as we all know, metalcore is probably one of the most saturated genres, which holds a lot of cliches, you know, just typical breakdowns, poppy choruses, and it's so cliche, man. And I love metalcore. I'm a huge metalcore kid, but because of it, I listen to so much of it that I know how generic the genre can be. Now, House of Glass recently came out, and that's where I shifted gears about my view on Erra. You know, I've listened to so many tracks of these guys, and I know that why people like them. However, for me, I felt like the band was being held back by experimenting. You know, every time Jesse came out with a clean chorus, it just seemed predictable. I just wasn't vibing with it. And the guitar work, although it was super impressive, none of the riffs really resonated. And that's where I can go back to bands like Protest the Hero. Sixth. The Human Abstract. between the bear, it'd be like. Man, I just feel like the new era of prog metalcore is just not the same, and maybe that's the old guys speaking out loud, but I want more from progressive metalcore, and just rather than just relying on breakdowns to make people happy or just like these, I don't know, super poppy choruses. So why I like Periphery and Veil of Maya more than Jesse, and it's literally just the pitch. And I do think that Lucas is a better vocalist. Same with Spencer Sotelo is a better vocalist than Jesse. Not to take away from Jesse's talent, because he plays guitar like a friggin' madman, but the vocals in those bands are a bit better. And Spencer, Periphery wouldn't sound the way that they do if it wasn't for Protest the Hero, actually. Spencer's one of his main influences is Rhodey Walker from Protest the Hero, and people don't realize that, is that Periphery is essentially a Protest the Hero 2.0, just with gent elements. But yeah, so... You know, I just prefer those vocals more because they have much more variety, much more range, where Jesse's is a little too high pitched that just doesn't hit for me. That's why I really like House of Glass, because JT's vocals were a nice breath of fresh air, a nice contrast to that overall song. I know a lot of people preferred Snowblood over House of Glass, but hey, that's just me. I preferred House of Glass way more. And now going on to the Infinite Illusion argument, Infinite Illusion I thought was just a solid track. Is it groundbreaking at all? No, God no. It's just a very solid track in terms of a very good chorus, you know, a very good guitar solo that was very perfectly used for the right time, a great breakdown. It was just a song with all the elements that make metalcore great, just done very well. Everything was seamless, it flowed very well, and that song resonated with me a lot better than, you know, Erra's just frantic, technical kind of guitar playing. Even though Erra is much more technical and much more creative, which I totally respect, there's just, the music is just not resonating with me. Some of it could just really go to preference, you know, that's just how I feel, but I thought Infinite Illusion was just a good track, and I'm not saying this band is better than that band, but I'm saying that Infinite Illusion Absence is one of the best tracks that I've heard this year, and better than a lot of Erra tracks that I've heard. Not House of Glass though. House of Glass is a sick track. Anyway, to all the Erra fans, I know you guys love that band. I'm glad that they're making prog metalcore a thing. I just hope that a lot of people who do listen to Erra listen to some more prog, because prog is one of the best genres, period, I think, because there's no boundaries in prog, and that's what makes it so good. Anyway, let's go on to the second fight. Boom, boom. Okay, this comes from Julian Throne. Your review on Currents The Way It Ends. Was it the super riffy album we were anticipating? No. But as far as cohesiveness, composition, overall musicianship, it definitely was top 3 releases for 2020. Artwork, story, passion, vocals were on point, and I'll argue that Brian and Chris are top 3 vocalist guitar in today's world of metalcore. I look at The Way It Ends as the perfect ending to a trilogy. The Place I Feel Safest and I Let the Devil in Me were also phenomenal, but The Way It Ends encompasses everything that they are. Hooks were also on point with all the choruses. For me, the top 3 releases for the year are Bring Me the Horizon, Currents, and Kingdom of Giants. Those 3 specific albums are 2020 as a whole. Yeah, but I can tell, Julian, you're a big fan of just, you know, metalcore. And metalcore, like I do a lot of metalcore on this channel, but I'm also, like I said, big fans of prog and a big fan of like deathcore and stuff. So, you know, because of that, I know Chris's other band very well, Shadow of Intent. Big fan of that band. So, you know, Chris is such a creative guitarist, and Currents, like I Let the Devil in Me, The Place I Feel Safest, was essentially, you know, kind of generic metalcore. I wouldn't say generic, I say generic lightly, but just metalcore done right, with a lot of passion, a lot of energy, but a lot of creativity. And that's what made the band so special. I'm like, holy crap, who is this underground band in the scene? Now they're blowing up in the scene, and everyone loves this new album. But here's me thinking, I've been listening to this band for a couple of years now, and this album just isn't as good as their previous albums. It really isn't. You say, is it, you know, was it the super riffy album we were anticipating? No. Yeah, but the other albums were pretty riffy, and you said, but as far as cohesiveness, composition, overall musicianship, it definitely was top 3 releases in 2020. I would argue that I Let the Devil in Me and The Place I Feel Safest were already cohesive and already had like good composition. So it's taking what made those albums so great and just kind of like bringing it down a notch. And I know a lot of guitarists do that. Sometimes they focus to let the vocals shine, and don't get me wrong, Brian was the star of the show. So if you know my review for my MVBs, my regular viewers probably don't know this, but Currents, I said that Brian was definitely the star of the new album, but that's not what I look for in the band. I look for the overall musicianship. And sure, Chris had some cool guitar work, just wasn't at the same. I felt like the energy in songs like Into Despair, Forever Marked were some of the best songs that Currents has ever written. So when the way it ends, there was no song that even could come close in those regards for me. I really enjoyed it because it was very passionate, but hey, what metalcore album isn't passionate? That's literally one of my favorite things about the metalcore genre as a whole. Is it a great metalcore album? For sure, but I don't even think it's going to be in my top 10 list. Like, I like that album. It's fun. It's not a bad album by any means. It's one of the better metalcore releases of the year, but I do not think it's Currents' best album. I think it's third, really. I understand why a lot of people like it, but to me, I feel like it's lackluster in terms of music creativity. It felt like a step down in terms of creativity. Sure, it's cohesive for sure, but their older stuff was already cohesive, so it just lacks that creativity from Currents that I love so much. And I hope more from Chris, knowing how good he was in Shadow of Intent and how amazing Shadow of Intent's material is, that the next Currents album, for me personally, is a bit better. Okay, next one is from Richard from True Shot. You are a doo-doo head. You want to go? Let's go, you mother. Let's go. Come on. Boom, boom, boom. No, I'm just joking. I love you, man. You're a doo-doo head too. Last one is from Max Gold. I thought the review on the newest The Ghost Inside album was pretty light on what they have put out in the past. I personally think that for a return album, this was super average. Similar sounding songs, same type of breakdowns, not diversity in what they normally do. You said it was a great album, but I personally thought it was one of their worst. I know you're a new fan to them, but you should try out one of their older albums, specifically Dear Youth. As always, I think we have similar tastes, but this album specifically was not as good in my opinion as you made it seem to be. Keep rocking on, my friend. So, yeah, the Ghost Inside album, have I listened to it since that review? No, I haven't. So on first impression, hey, I thought it was a banged album. I thought it was good energy. Isn't an album that has a lot of replayability for me? No, I think it's a very average album, and it's definitely not going to be in my top 10 list. Even Aftermath, I know it's a very emotional song. I liked it, but the song didn't really hit home with me as much as I wanted it to, because knowing the themes of that song, it's just the way it is. I thought it was a good song. That's why I enjoyed the heavier tracks on the album. But that's just me, and I know why people love The Ghost Inside. I think this is just one of those bands that really doesn't do much for me. Like, it's good hardcore energy, but there's nothing that really sticks out for me. Even if I listen to the older stuff, because I have listened to some of the older stuff, and like, they're good. I think they're a good band. Do I think they're great? Not really. There's lots of hardcore, metallic hardcore bands in the scene. These guys just, what I think they bring is that they're just genuine, good people. And that's what makes the band so special. So the band members themselves are great. The music is okay, in my opinion. And the new album, I don't think it's that good. I think it's pretty good. It's pretty forgettable. There's some songs that, actually there's not many songs. I think Pressure Point is the one track that I just go back to, but for the most part, it's an average album for me. And because of it, will I go back to the older Ghost Inside stuff? I checked out Mercy, and I've checked out some other tracks. It's just one of those bands that I think they're okay. I just think they're okay. Alright guys, that was only a couple comments. I can go on for way longer. But yeah, my opinion has definitely changed about Erra. My opinion is still the same about Currents and their new album. And The Ghost Inside, actually, yeah, I don't really care for the new album that much. So just keep in mind that when I do my reviews, it's not like the end-all result. My opinions change over time. That's why I want to do this and create music discussion. But yeah, so, my reviews, like I said, they're not perfect, and how I do my reviews is I literally just, nothing is scripted. I literally just talk as is because I want it to be relatable. I want it to just be like a regular person that's just listening to music and sharing their opinions, because I don't like those people that are like too scripted and it seems kind of fake. I want this channel to be as real as possible, and that's why I'm doing this video, because I want it to feel as real as possible with my expanded reviews on these songs and albums. But yeah, if you guys have any more rebuttals or anything, leave a comment down below. Spice up my life. I feel like I'm opening up a can of worms here, but we'll see what's good. But yeah, thanks for watching the new content here. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you do like this kind of content, let me know. I want to know if you guys thought this was a good idea, because I would like to do more episodes of this. Okay, but on that, thank you for tuning in. Till next time. Peace.